Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome back to Morning Stir and Through the Bible with Yolanda Worldwide here on YouTube. I'm so glad you're here. Listen, if you're joining in as a replay viewer, go ahead and give me that hashtag replay. If you're brand new, let me know that as well. And go ahead and click that subscribe button right now. I am so glad you're here. Now, for those of you who are joining in live, I call you my people, my people, my people. Number one, greet me in whatever way you do in your part of the world. Number two, let me know where in the world you are joining in from. Number three, help me by clicking that little thumbs up on the screen. Number four, please help me share this broadcast far and wide. And number five, if you are, just go ahead and let me know I'm stirred up. I'm stirred up. And if you're like me, as I always say, I'm always stirred all the way up. Again, I'm so glad you're here. We're going to dive in and we're going to do our due diligence. And we're going to start off by obviously praying in the Spirit for just a few minutes. And then I will share what the Lord lays upon my heart for today. And then we're going to dive straightway into reading the Word of God. And we're going to get as far as we can, possibly even finishing up Jeremiah, but we'll see how that goes today. So let's just go ahead and start. Let's begin to pray. Rakatamandi ele bakoshata tata bakoshite rikitide bakoshata rakataya labataya rabakoshata randi ikarakata rikitide bakoshata randi ikarakataya rikitide bakoshataya randi ikarakata rokotata bakoshaya rikitide bakoshata randi ikarakata rikitide bakoshata rikitete bakushataya rande ikarakata rikitete bakushata rikitete bakushataya rikitete bakushataya rande ikarakata rande kiyala bakushata rikitete bakushata rikitete bakaya rande kiyara bakushata rikitete bakushata rikitete bakushata rande ikarakata Rikididididididi bakushata, randi ikarakata, rikidididididi bakushataya, randi ikarakata, rikididididi bakushataya, rikitititititi, rikitititititi bakushata, randi ikarakata, yelididididi bakushata, randi ikarakata, rikidididididi bakushataya, rikididididi bakushata, randi ikarakataya, rukutididididi bakushata, rikidididididi bakushataya, rakatata tata, rikidididididi bakushata, rikidididididi bakushataya, rikidididididi bakushata, rakatata tata, rikidididididi bakushataya, rikidididididi bakushataya, rikidididididi bakushata, randi ikarakata, rikidididididi bakushataya. Randiara bakoshata, riketete bakoshataya, riketete rokoshata, randi ikarakata, riketete bakoshataya, randi ikarakataya, la de bakoshata, riketete bakoshata, riketete bakoshata, riketete bakoshataya, riketete bakoshataya, rakatata tata, riketete bakoshataya, randi ikarakataya, rikititititititi bakoshata, rikitititititi bakoshataya, rikitititititi bakoshata, rakataya rabakoshata, rikitititititi bakoshataya, rakatata tata, rokoshataya rabakoshata, rikititititi, rikititititi bakosha, rikititititi, oh shataya rabakoshata, rikititititi, rokoshataya rabakoshata, rikititititi bakoshata, roko oshataya, rakatia lebataya, reketeya rabataya. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Y'all, that's the word of the Lord. as it dropped in my spirit about 1 minute ago, and I was attempting to try to process what God was going to say about it, to add nothing to it. That is the word of the Lord. Be still and know that I am God. So I'm dare not going to tamper with it. I'm going to dive straight into the reading of the word. My God. Chapter 44, not Jeremiah. Jeremiah is so in my spirit. It's not Jeremiah. It's actually Ezekiel. Um, let's dive in. Chapter 44. Then the man brought me back to the outside gate complex of the sanctuary that faces east, but it was shut. God spoke to me, this gate is shut and it's to stay shut. No one is to go through it because God, the God of Israel, has gone through it. It stays shut. Only the prince, because he's the prince, may sit there to eat in the presence of God. He is to enter the gate complex through the porch and leave by the same way. The man led me through the north gate to the front of the temple. I looked, and oh, the bright glory of God filling the temple of God fell on my face in worship. God said to me, Son of man, get a grip on yourself. Use your eyes, use your ears, pay careful attention to everything I tell you about the ordinances of the temple of God. The way all laws work, instructions regarding it, and all the entrances and exits of the sanctuary. Tell this bunch of rebels, this family, Israel, message of God the Master, no more of these vile obscenities, Israel dragging irreverent and unrepentant outsiders, uncircumcised in heart and flesh, into my sanctuary, feeding them the sacrificial offerings as if it were the food for a neighborhood picnic. With all your vile obscenities, you've broken trust with me, the solemn covenant I made with you. You haven't taken care of my holy things. You've hired out the work of foreigners who care nothing for this place, my sanctuary. No irreverent and unrepentant aliens, uncircumcised in heart or flesh, not even the ones who live among Israelites, are to enter my sanctuary. The Levites who walked off and left me, along with everyone else, all Israel, who took up all the no God idols, will pay for everything they did wrong. From now on, they'll do only the menial work in the sanctuary, guard the gates, and help out with the temple chores, and also kill the sacrificial animals for the people and serve them, because they acted as priests to the no God idols and made my people Israel stumble and fall. I've taken an oath to punish them. Decree of God the Master, yes, they'll pay for what they've done. They're fired from the priesthood. No longer will they come into my presence and take care of my holy things. No more access to the holy place. They'll have to live with what they've done, carry the shame of their vile and obscene lives. From now on, their job is to sweep up and run errands. That's it. But the Levitical priests who descend from Zadok, who faithfully took care of my sanctuary when everyone else went off and left me, are gone to come into my presence and serve me. They are going to carry out the priestly work of offering the solemn sacrifices of worship. Decree of God the Master. They're the only ones permitted to enter my sanctuary. They're the only ones to approach my table and serve me, accompany me in my work. When they enter the gate complex of the inside courtyard, they are to dress in linen. No woolens are to be worn while serving at the gate complex of the inside courtyard or inside the temple itself. They're to wear linen turbans on their heads and linen underclothes, nothing that makes them sweat. When they go out into the outside courtyard where the people gather, they must first change out of the clothes they have been serving in, leaving them in the sacred rooms where they change to their everyday clothes so that they don't trivialize their holy work by the way they dress. They are to neither shave their heads nor let their hair become unkempt, but must keep their hair trimmed and neat. No priest is to drink on the job, no wine while in the inside courtyard. Priests are not to marry widows or divorcees, but only Israelite virgins or widows or priests. The widows of priests. Their job is to teach my people the difference between the holy and the uncommon, to show them how to discern between unclean and clean. When there's a difference of opinion, the priests will arbitrate. They'll decide on the basis of my judgments, laws, and statutes. They are in charge of making sure the appointed feasts are honored and Sabbaths kept holy in the ways I've commanded. A priest must not contaminate himself by going near a corpse, but when the dead person is his father or mother, son or daughter, brother or unmarried sister, he can approach the dead. But after he has been purified, he must wait another 7 days. Then when he returns to the inside courtyard of the sanctuary to do his priestly work in the sanctuary, he must first offer a sin offering for himself. Decree of God the Master. As to priests owning land, I am their inheritance. Don't give any land in Israel to them. I am their land, their inheritance. They'll take their meals from the grain offerings, the sin offerings, and the guilt offerings. Everything in Israel offered to God in worship is theirs. The best of everything grown, plus all special gifts, comes to the priests. All that is given in worship to God goes to them. Serve them first. Serve from your best, and your home will be blessed. Priests are not to eat any meat from bird or animal unfit for ordinary human consumption, such as carcasses found dead on the road or in the field. Chapter 45. When you divide up the inheritance of the land, you must set aside part of the land as sacred space for God, approximately 7 miles long by 6 miles wide, all of it holy ground. Within this rectangle, reserve a 750-foot square for the sanctuary with a 75-foot buffer zone surrounding it. Mark off within the sacred reserve a section 7 miles long by 3 miles wide. The sanctuary with its holy of holies will be placed there. This is where the priests will live. Those who lead worship in the sanctuary and serve God there, their houses will be there along with the holy place. To the north of the sacred reserve, an area roughly 7 miles long and 2¼ miles wide will be set aside as land for the villages of the Levites who administer the affairs of worship in the sanctuary. To the south of the sacred reserve, measure off a section 7 miles long and about 1.5 miles wide for the city itself, an area held in common by the whole family of Israel. The prince gets the land abutting the 7 mile east and west border of the central sacred square, extending eastward toward the Jordan and westward toward the Mediterranean. This is the prince's possession in Israel. My princes will no longer bully my people, running roughshod over them. They'll respect the land as it has been allotted to the tribes. This is the message of God, the Master. I've put up with you long enough. Princes of Israel, quit bullying and taking advantage of my people. Do what's just and right for a change. Use honest scales, honest weights, and honest measures. Every pound must have 16 ounces. Every gallon must measure 4 quarts. The ounce is the basic measure for both, and your coins must be honest, no wooden nickels. These are the prescribed offerings. You are to supply 1/6 part of your wheat, 1/6 part of your barley, 1/100th part of your of your oil, 1 sheep out of every 200 from the lush pastures of Israel. These will be used for the grain offerings, burnt offerings, and peace offerings for making the atonement sacrifice to the people. Decree of God the Master. Everyone in the land must contribute to these special offerings that the prince in Israel will administer. It's the prince's job to provide the burnt offerings, grain offerings, and drink offerings at the holy festivals, the new moons, and the Sabbaths. All the commanded feasts among the people of Israel, sin offerings, grain offerings, burnt offerings, and peace offerings for making atonement for the people of Israel are his responsibility. This is the message from God, the Master. On the first day of the first month, take an unblemished bull calf and purify the sanctuary. The priest is to take blood from the sin offerings and rub it on the doorposts of the temple, on the four corners of the ledge of the altar, and on the gate entrance to the inside courtyard. Repeat this ritual on the seventh day of the month for anyone who sins without knowing it. In this way, you make atonement for the temple. On the 14th day of the first month, you will observe the Passover, a feast of 7 days. During the feast, you will eat bread without yeast. On Passover, the prince supplies a bull as a sin offering for himself and all the people of the country. Each day, for each of the 7 days of the feast, he will supply 7 bulls and 7 rams, unblemished, as a burnt offering to God, and also each day a male goat. He will supply about 5.5 gallons of grain offering and a gallon of oil for each bull and each ram. On the 15th day of the seventh month, and on each of the 7 days of the feast, he is to supply the same materials for the sin offerings, burnt offerings, grain offerings, and oil. Chapter 46. Message from God the Master. The gate of the inside court on the east is to be shut on the 6 work days, but open on the Sabbath. It is also to be open on the new moon. The prince will enter through the entrance area of the gate complex and stand at the gate post as the priests present his burnt offerings and peace offerings. While he worships there on the porch, he will then leave, but the gate won't be shut until evening. On Sabbaths and new moons, the people are to worship before God at the outside entrance to the gate complex. The prince supplies for God the burnt offering for the Sabbath, 6 unblemished lambs and an unblemished ram. The grain offering to go with the ram is about 5.5 gallons plus a gallon of oil and a handful of grain for each lamb. At the new moon, he is to supply a bull calf, 6 lambs, and a ram, all without blemish. He will also supply 5.5 gallons of grain offering and a gallon of oil for both ram and bull, and a handful of grain offering for each lamb. When the prince enters, he will go through the entrance vestibule of the gate complex and leave the same way. But when the people of the land come to worship God at the commanded feast, those who enter through the north gate will exit from the south gate, and those who enter through the south gate will exit from the north gate. You don't exit the gate through which you enter, but through the opposite gate. The prince is to be there, mingling with them, going in and out with them. At the festivals and the commanded feasts, the appropriate grain offering is 5.5 gallons with a gallon of oil for the bull and ram, and a handful of grain for each lamb. When the prince brings a freewill offering to God, whether a burnt offering or a peace offering, the east gate is to be open for him. He offers his burnt or peace offering the same as he does on the Sabbath. Then he leaves, and after he is out, the gate is shut. Every morning you are to bring a yearling lamb unblemished for a burnt offering to God. Also, every morning bring a grain offering of about a gallon of grain with a quart or so of oil to moisten it. Presenting this grain offering to God is standard procedure. The lamb, the grain offering, and the oil for the burnt offering are a regular daily ritual. A message from God. The master, if the prince deeds a gift from his inheritance to one of his sons, it stays in the family. But if he deeds a gift from his inheritance to a servant, the servant keeps it only until the year of liberation, the Jubilee year. After that, it comes back to the prince. His inheritance is only for his sons. It stays in the family. The prince must not take the inheritance from any of the people, disposing them of their land. He can give his sons only what he himself owns. None of my people are to be run off their land. Then the man brought me through the north gate into the holy chambers assigned to the priests and showed me a back room to the west. He said, this is the kitchen where the priest will cook the guilt offering and sin offering and bake the grain offering so that they won't have to do it in the outside courtyard and endanger the unprepared people out there with the holy. He proceeded to take me to the outside courtyard and around to each of its four corners. In each corner, I observed another court. In each of the four corners of the outside courtyard were smaller courts, 60 by 45 feet, each the same size. On the inside walls of the courts was a stone shelf, and beneath the shelves, hearths for cooking. He said, these are the kitchens where who serve in the temple will cook the sacrifices of the people. Chapter 47. Now he brought me back to the entrance to the temple. I saw water pouring out from under the temple porch to the east. The temple faced east. The water poured from the south side of the temple, south of the altar. He then took me out through the north gate and led me around the outside to the gate complex on the east. The water was gushing from under the south front of the temple. He walked to the east with a measuring tape and measured off 1,500 feet, leading me through the water ankle deep. He measured off another 1,500 feet, leading me through water that was deep, knee deep. He measured off another 1,500 feet, leading me through water waist deep. He measured off another 1,500 feet. By now, it was a river over my head, water to swim in, water no one could possibly walk through. He said, Son of man, have you had a good look? Then he took me back to the river bank. While sitting on the bank, I noticed a lot of trees on both sides of the river. He told me this water flows east, descends to the Araba, and then into the sea of stagnant waters. When it empties into those waters, the sea will become fresh. Wherever the river flows, life will flourish, great schools of fish. Because the river is turning the salt sea into fresh water, where the river flows, life abounds. Fishermen will stand shoulder to shoulder along the shore from Engedi all the way north to in Eglum, casting their nets. The sea will teem with fish of all kinds, like the fish of the great Mediterranean. The swamps and marshes won't become fresh, they'll stay salty. But the river itself on both banks will grow fruit trees of all kinds. Their leaves won't wither, the fruit won't fail. Every month they'll bear fresh fruit because the river from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will be for food and their leaves for healing. A message from God, the Master. These are the boundaries by which you are to divide up the inheritance of the land for the 12 tribes of Israel, with Joseph getting two parcels. It is to be divided equally. I swore in a solemn oath to give it to your ancestors, swore that this land would be your inheritance. These are the boundaries of the land. The northern boundary runs from the great Mediterranean Sea along the Hethlon road to where you turn off to the entrance of Hamath, Zedad, Beratha, and Sibrim, which lies between the territory of Damascus and the territory of Hamath, and on to Hazar Hadakon on the border of Haran. The boundary runs from sea to Hazar Enan with the territories of Damascus and Hamath to the north. That is the north boundary. The eastern boundary runs between Damascus and Haran, down along the Jordan between Gilead and the land of Israel to the eastern sea as far as Tamar. This is the eastern boundary. The southern boundary runs west from Tamar to the waters of Meribah Kadesh along the brook of Egypt and out to the great Mediterranean Sea. This is the southern boundary. The western boundary is formed by the great Mediterranean Sea north to where the road turns east toward the entrance of Hamath. This is the western boundary. Divide up this land among the 12 tribes of Israel, divided up as your inheritance, and included in it the resident aliens who have made themselves at home among you and now have children. Treat them as if they were born there, just like yourselves. They also get an inheritance among the tribes of Israel. In whatever tribe the resident aliens lives, there gets his inheritance. Decree of God, Master. Chapter 48. These are the tribes. Then one portion along the northern boundary, following the Hethlon road that turns off to the entrance of Hamath as far as Hazar Enan, so that the territory of Damascus lies to the north alongside Hamath, the northern border stretching from east to west. Asher, one portion bordering Dan from east to west. Naphtali, one portion bordering Asher from east to west. Manasseh, one portion bordering Naphtali from east to west. Ephraim, one portion bordering Manasseh from east to west. Reuben, one portion bordering Ephraim from east to west. Judah, one portion bordering Reuben from east to west. Bordering Judah from east to west is the consecrated area that you will set aside as holy. A square approximately 7 by 7 miles, with the sanctuary set at the center. The consecrated area reserved for God is to be 7 miles long and a little less than 3 miles wide. This is how it will be parceled out. The priest will get the area measuring 7 miles on the north and south boundaries, with the width of a little more than 3 miles at the east and west boundaries. The sanctuary of God will be at the corner. This is for the consecrated priests, the Zadokites, who stayed true to the service to me and didn't get off track as the Levites did when Israel wandered off the main road. This is their special gift, a gift from the land itself, most holy ground, bordering the section of the Levites. The Levites get a section equal in size to that of the priests, roughly 7 by 3 miles. They are not permitted to sell or trade any of it. It's the choice part of the land, to say nothing of being holy to God. What's left of the sacred square, each side measures out at 7 miles by a mile and a half, is for ordinary use. The city and its buildings with open country around it, but the city at the center, the north, south, east, and west sides of the city are each about 1.5 miles in length. A strip of pasture 125 yards wide will border the city on all sides. The remainder of this portion, 3 miles of countryside to the east and the west of the sacred precinct, is for farming. It will supply food for the city. Workers from all the tribes of Israel will serve as field hands to farm the land. This dedicated area, set apart for holy purposes, will be a square 7 miles by 7 miles, a holy square which includes the part set aside for the city. The rest of this land, the country stretching east to the Jordan and west to the Mediterranean from the 7 mile sides of the Holy Square, belongs to the prince's land and sandwiched between the tribal portions north and south, and goes out both east and west from the sacred square with its temple at the center. The land set aside for the Levites on one side and the city on the other, in the middle of the territory assigned to the prince. The sacred square is flanked east and west by the prince's land and bordered on the south, north and by south by the territories of Judah and Benjamin respectively. And then the rest of the tribes: Benjamin, one portion stretching from the eastern to the western boundary; Simeon, one portion bordering Benjamin from east to west, Issachar, one portion bordering Simeon from east to west, Zebulun, one portion bordering Issachar from east to west, Gad, one portion bordering Zebulun from east to west. The south boundary of Gad will run south from Tamar to the waters of Meribah Kadesh along the brook of Egypt and then out to the great Mediterranean Sea. This is the land that you are to divide up among the tribes of Israel and the inheritance. These are the portions, decree of God the Master. These are the gates of the city of the north side of which is 2,250 yards long. The gates of the city are named after the tribes. Three gates: the gate of Reuben, the gate of Judah, and Levi. On the east side, 2,250, gate of Joseph, Benjamin, and Dan. On the south side, 2,250, gates of Simeon, Issachar, and Zebulun. On the west side, measuring 2,250, gates of Gad, Asher, and Naphtali. The four sides of the city measured to a total nearly 6 miles. From now on, the name of the city will be Yahweh Shammah. God is there. Y'all, that is Ezekiel. I missed a few scriptures in 43 at the end, but we're going to let you read that from 22 to the end on your own. This is the book of Ezekiel, y'all. We are moving on, and be blessed. I'll see you all tomorrow, and I'll give announcements tomorrow as well. Be blessed. Oops, sorry.